Now joining us, the host of Red Eye with Greg Gutfeld on the Fox News Channel since February 2007, blogs on his own site, The Daily Gut, and has written for Prevention and Men's Health magazine. We've got Greg Gutfeld on the Skype. Greg, how are you?
Woohoo!
I'm doing good, doing good. I look very shiny on Skype. It makes your head about 85% shinier.
You have a wonderful ceiling.
Yes,
but you know what?
You're seeing my messy office at Fox News. It's quite embarrassing. My mother, if she was watching, she would be very angry with me.
Well, she would, because your hair's kind of sticking up like a little duckling hair, you know, like a little gosling.
It took me 2 hours to get my hair like this.
Oh, I'm sorry. You tried. The last time we spoke was when you had me as a guest on your program to talk about Troopathon, and at that time, I don't know how the subject came up, but we were discussing whether or not we were going to sleep with one another. But then we got kind of sidetracked. So yes. I'm so glad that you decided to rejoin this crazy lady on this crazy broadcast.
I thought maybe this time I actually would get lucky.
No.
But since we're separated by a continent, I guess I'm out of luck.
No.
But this is it's such a it's a great cause. These guys, these are our heroes. They deserve everything that we can give them, and I'm just very happy and thankful that you guys asked me to stop by. I'm just a meek little man, in a tiny box on the 18th floor. There's very little I can do except say, these guys are awesome.
Oh, you're being very modest. You're the host of Red Eye with, well, oddly enough, Greg Gutfeld. I don't know how that happened.
How much marketing research went into that?
I don't know, but obviously it's working, because you've been doing this since February of 2007. You blog at your own site, The Daily Gut. I don't know why, but you are friends with Andrew Breitbart, because he's kind of, a little cuckoo.
He has some embarrassing pictures of me, but I have embarrassing films of him. So
it's payoff. Yeah.
Greg, you're on the inside of the news media and the epicenter of the liberal media, the establishment media in New York. Tell me a little bit about whether or not the attitude of your colleagues in New York, where we all seem to have our news filtered through, is changing. I know Fox News Channel has always been very patriotic and very supportive, but is it changing? Are you still an island? Is it beginning to change at all?
Well, the best way to describe it in the media, or the way the media looks at, I guess, average Americans or people who are considered patriots, they look at them as a lost tribe. You remember that movie, The Gods Must Be Crazy?
Yes.
That's how they look at patriots. And I guess it's because they're just not around a lot of people that are like that, and they don't spend a lot of time with the military, and I think I hate to say it, at times they just they see them as unique and almost kind of like novelty, which is kind of a shame.
Now, some of these people that you deal with obviously are throwing Coke cans down repeatedly, right? In support of the military. That's their big contribution.
Yes, exactly.
They
did a sequel to that movie. It didn't do very well.
No, I know. That was a classic. You can't repeat something like that, something as cool as that.
No.
Yeah.
It's really cool that you spent some time with us here today, Greg. We are trying to do what we can do, each and every one of us, individually and collectively as Americans, to do right by our troops in Iraq and Afghanistan. I've been there twice now, to Iraq, once to Kuwait. But I started my journalism career 30 some odd years ago. I was in Beirut in 1983 when there was the horrific explosion it was a car bomb that went off, killing almost more than 300 of our American soldiers. We are not out of the woods. We are not out of danger as a country. You know more than anybody living in New York City that we've got a dagger over our head, and it's called radical Islam.
Yeah, well, I think it's just something that we have to treat like the weather. It's never going to go away, and we have to deal with it. I mean, I was here in New York in 9/11. I was living in London when the July 7th bombing took place, and I'm outside of Times Square. I watch as the streets get cleared whenever they find a backpack, and the thing is, my most important point is, even when it's perceived as a failure, when people aren't dead, to them and to basically to us, it's still a success. because they've disrupted our lives, and they've disrupted, and they've used manpower and money, and we have to keep looking at it. We can't stop taking this seriously because some of these jokers are inept. Just because you're inept doesn't make you any less of a terrorist. You're still a terrorist.
Yeah, like that last guy in Times Square had that SUV detonated, that would have been, I mean, if he had been able to light a match, we'd be having a different conversation. Anyway, we find out today that there are still connections between the old Al-Qaeda and the Taliban, which is now in Pakistan. And recently,
wait a minute. The American left told me there was no connection.
No connection whatsoever.
I believe them. There was no connection.
But New York is still target number one, and it's looking more and more like just a block from where you are. Times Square is the place they're aiming for. Yeah.
Yeah. It's well, you know what? People have to remember that just because you don't live in New York, they're actually trying to kill you. It's a symbolic gesture. If they had the chance, they would kill you. So even though you're living in Idaho or Los Angeles or whatever, the fact that they're putting a bomb in Times Square is no different than them putting a Times Square in your bedroom, a bomb in your bedroom, not Times Square. Although that would be fun. But you know what I mean. The fact is, given the opportunity, they would try to kill you. It doesn't matter where they do it. They want you dead.
We very much appreciate you sharing your time with us. We wish you continued great success with the ratings on Fox News, because we don't ever want you to go away. But listen, do me a favor. The next time you come back on the program, would you fix your hair for me?
This is great hair.
Oh, for crying out loud, your mother would be so embarrassed. Greg Gutfeld.
This is awesome hair.
I told you look like a little ducky with your hair sticking up there. Hey,
well, some people like that.
Go back to work. Go back to work. And
okay.
Tell everybody you know to make a contribution to Move America Forward, to Troopathon.org. Start blogging or tweeting or whatever you do, honking your horn or, stomping your feet or whatever you can do. Get the word out for us, would you?
You got it.
All right.
Thank you, and we'll be watching.